Today's Dharma message will be given by Reverend Hirosato Yoshida. Reverend Hirosato Yoshida, born in Shizuoka, Japan, moved to Hilo, Hawaii at the age of 7 when his father became the resident minister at the Hirosato Soto Mission. Later, his family relocated to Oahu, where Hirosato graduated from Roosevelt High School and earned a bachelor's degree in anthropology and religion at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Following graduation, he returned to Japan for monastic training at Daihonzan Eiheiji Bitsuin Chokokuji. For 8 years, he served at the Soto Shu administrative headquarters, working for Hawaii Bishop's Office, assisting the bishop with statewide meetings, events, and services. He served as a liaison between Hawaii and Japan, especially during the Hawaii Soto Mission 110th anniversary and 650th Gasan Zenji preliminary service. He also helped facilitate and coordinate anniversary events for Soto Zen Buddhism across North America, South America, and Europe. During 2021 to 2022, he also served as the Director of Social Media and Intergenerational Programs for the Hawaii Association of International Buddhists. In 2018, Reverend Yoshida left his position at the Soto Shu Administrative Headquarters to become a resident minister at the Soto Mission of Hawaii, Bitsuin, and Kauai Soto Zen Temple, Zenshuji in Honolulu. He is here today with his wife Aika, and they have 2 children, Sosuke Skylar and Hina. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you, Reverend Hirosato Yoshida.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's like a special feeling. I usually never get these introductions with my bio and all of that stuff. I feel very special standing on this podium. And you all know that there's 2 types of Dharma talk or a message. One is kind of in between the service, like today, where I can talk forever and no one can leave. And there's other ones that we do at the end where you slowly see people walking away as you keep talking more and more. So I got you all today, you can't leave. But I thank you for inviting me over here. And aloha and congratulations to class of, is it 2025?
Yes.
2025. I think when I was counting back, I think the year they were probably born around 2007, 2008, around there. I graduated from UH, so I'm getting very, very old. I thought I was just graduated, but you have a full-grown adult from the time that I graduated from this point on. And I'm very honored to speak to you today. Not just as a minister, but as someone who once stood where you're standing now, full of dreams, some fear, and maybe a bit of uncertainty on what to do in life next going forward. And I was there too. And I'm sure all of you were there as well. Thus, I have heard, or more precisely, I experienced when I was 22. Just like the 3 of you, graduating from school, in my case, college, and decided to go into monastery. It was one of the toughest times in my life, but it was during that moment in my training that I experienced what I would call an enlightenment experience. And that experience changed the way I think about what is important in life. And let me share you what that experience or enlightenment experience is today. And I know you're being asked lately, where are you going after graduation? Maybe college? Getting a job? Or travel around the world before that happens? Explore the world? Or are you maybe thinking of going to monastic training? But today I want to ask you a different question. Where are you going right now? Not 5 years from now, not next semester, but right now. Bathroom? Anyone? But in all seriousness, in Zen, we start where we are. And that brings to me a strange story about a bathroom. Or the bathroom, not as a toilet bathroom, but where you have the bath, right?
Oh.
So when I was a trainee monk in the Soto Zen Monastery in Japan, one of the first jobs assigned to new monks or a new trainee was cleaning the bath. And I don't mean a quick bath that you kind of have at your home where it's just one tub. It's a communal bath, so you have a big, a bathtub almost as big as this altar, and then you have the washing area, and then you have the dressing area. So it's a very big, like maybe about the size of, this hall over here with everything there. And it was a job that we had to do every day, cleaning every single area. And we had to clean everything, the dressing area, the floors, the tub, the drains, and the shower head. And after you finished, you had to go and call your senior monk for an inspection. A senior monk would come in, swipe their fingers into any hidden crevices that they could find, and between floorboards, under pipe, behind the faucets, and if they even found a trace of dust, you failed. So they'll go like this, kind of like you see in these dramas and things. They'll go like wipe. And if you don't see any dust coming out, then you pass. But if you find anything, your fingers are a little dirtier than you swiped, then you kind of failed. And they'll do that every single day. And they'll pull out their fingers like a triumph of brine, like, the dust of 1,000 autumn. And here I was listening to that, and I'd be thinking, yeah, you probably didn't clean that a year ago when you were a young monk. Because that amount of dust doesn't pile in a year, or in a day. And of course, as a young training monk, all you could say was, "Hi." And you do it again tomorrow, but to make sure you clean that area. But the most ridiculous part of all of that was that part that made no sense to me at the time was the shower head and the hose. They would test the shower head by swinging it through the air like a baseball bat. So they'll take the shower head, and then you have the mirror in front of you. So what they'll do is do like that. And if there's any water that hits the mirror, then you fail. And it was kind of very ridiculous at first. Why do you have to clean every drop in there? And they would actually do that every single time. And it's not like one shower head. There's like 5 or 6 because it's a communal bath, right? So there I was every day swinging the shower head like this. Just making sure I get every drop of water, just like Shohei Ohtani practicing for home run. But these practices of it was very important that I get every single water out because I didn't want to do it again the next day. But then the harder part was the hose part, because the end gets attached to the faucet. And you don't have your wrench or anything to undo it. So what you had to do was you go like this, and you twirl it. And then you kind of try to drain it out. And you do that for every single one. You have to unscrew the shower head, spin, drain several times. Just like how you have your water bottle when you're trying to take out the water, instead of you gotta spin it to get a whirlpool, it goes out fast. So you do that every one. And that was like the whole thing. And after you take it out, you will dry the shower head, and then you'll keep the hose upside down so you make sure everything is drained out. And then at the end of the afternoon, when the afternoon comes, you do that in the early morning. So you give it enough time to get it dry. And then in the afternoon, you get your inspection. So the point here is, I had no idea why I had to do it that far of cleaning this shower head. So months later, as I was promoted and transferred to a new division, and that division that cared for the head minister of the temple. And one of the unexpected jobs was to take a bath with him. Now, I was the last to take a bath up until then because I was a new monk. You know, seniority, hierarchy happens in Japan. So you start off with the head, and then slowly everyone under that rank goes on. And then the last is the first year trainee. And up until then, as everyone, I'm sure all of you here too, is what do you do when you go in the communal bath? You wash your body first, and then you go in, right? If you're went to onsen in Japan, you want to clean your body first before you go into the water because you don't get to change the water per person. So, what do you do when you're taking your shower first? The first thing you do is you go like this, turn it on, you make sure you don't splash yourself with the cold water, right? You let the hot water run first, and then you start cleaning. But that was the first time. At that moment, when I turned on the shower, I noticed something. The water that came out was already warm. And I didn't need to let the cold water run out first. That meaningless ritual of emptying the hose, it ensured that the first person of the day would have warm water instantly. In that moment, it clicked to me. All that obsessive details, all that little task weren't about perfection. They were an act of kindness. The invisible effort for someone else's comfort. A compassion so small, you might miss it. And that's when I started to understand what Zen practice was teaching me. This kind of attention appeared in the story of Dogen Zenshuji, the founder of Soto Zen in Japan. When Dogen Zenji traveled to China as a young monk, he met an old tenzo, the cook of a monastery. The tenzo was out gathering mushrooms in the hot sun. Dogen asked, "Why don't you send someone younger to do this for you?" The tenzo replied, "Others are not me." Dogen answered, "But it's so hot. Why work so hard?" The tenzo said, "If I don't do it now, when will I do it?" Dogen was stunned. This old man wasn't just cooking. He was practicing the way through mushrooms, through broth, through rice. Later, Dogen wrote in his Tenzo Kyokun, "Do not think you must act out of your great aspiration, but by doing something grand. You express the way by turning over the rice in the pot." This is Zen, not in the philosophy books, but in the kitchen. Not in theory, but in how you sweep a floor or prepare a bath. Right now, many of you want to change the world. That's very beautiful. But sometimes we don't even know what the world needs, and that's okay. Start with what's in front of you. Answer your email, write your paper, hold the door, and wash your bowl. Because as you give your heart fully to small things, they stop being small. They become a treasure. Everyone, even if nobody sees them. People often say live in the present, and that's a perfect way to kind of understand what mindfulness and what really we're trying to teach. But as Zen, it isn't about escaping life, nor ignoring to prepare for the future or learning from your mistake of the past. It's about going deeper into it. You don't need to become a monk to live this way. Where you are, in college, at work, in your home, just ask, what is the most compassionate thing I can do right now? And do it fully. And that's enough. So before you go out to save the planet, swing the shower head. Before you start your career, twist the hose. Before you go viral, clean the crevices. And before you change the world, wash your bowl. There's a famous Zen story that captures this. A young monk asked a Chinese master, Joshu, "What is Zen?" Joshu replied, "Have you eaten your rice for breakfast?" He said, "Yes." Then he said, "Then wash your bowl." That's it. Not a sermon, not a lecture, just wash your bowl. To all of you graduating today, whatever path you walk, don't underestimate the small. Today's confusion may become tomorrow's realization. Today's showerhead may become tomorrow's enlightenment. So walk your path, do your best, stay curious. And if you ever become famous and decide to write a book, I only ask that you include the line in your acknowledgement page saying, "My success began when I listened to Reverend Yoshida's while swimming in a shower head." That way I know that my job here is complete. I'm just joking. But make sure you thank your parents. Again, thank you for listening to my talk. Thank you to Daifukuji and Reverend Nakade for inviting me to be the speaker today. And congratulations to the graduates and their parents and their family. And again, don't forget, enlightenment is in the ordinary small things in life. Thank you.